It's Thursday, and I'm Gazbot. So, hi. The last video I made ended on Tuesday morning, I believe, and I haven't recorded anything Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm halfway through Thursday now. It's in the late afternoon. Why? Because there's nothing... I realized the last video I did was like half hour long, and the first half of it was kind of just retreading stuff I've said before, and then the second half kind of got interesting, but I'm like, if I was watching this, I might even skip the first half. So what's been going on is business as usual. I haven't really left my house. There hasn't been anything exciting happening that way, and I've been grinding away on the Ultraman sketch cards, and so as I said before, my goal to meet my deadline easily is to do 3.5 a week. As of today, okay, this is a bit misleading. As of today, I have 3 done, which means that I only have to get half of one done by the end of the week, next Monday, however you want to put it, which is true, but I did have a buffer of a half of a card already done. So what I want to do is do 1 more full card or 2 digital roughs or whatever so that I keep that buffer. But there's no doubt in my mind that tomorrow I can, at the very least, do a half a card and be all caught up. So I'll have this weekend to be able to draw whatever for the horror or whatever else I want to do. So I'm on track. Everything's good. There's not a lot to report, and I didn't want to have a really long video for no reason. So I'll stop now, and when there's something worth saying or something worth showing, I'll put it in. Okay, it's Friday. It's early afternoon, 11:51, according to my stove, which is my clock, I guess. Nothing huge to report. I finished what I need to finish for the week. I had 3 complete cards and a half of another card. I kind of started a little bit last night on the rough, but it was a mess, and I finished it this morning, like early in the morning. And then I started working on the final card. I got it transferred. I have it about 75% inked, and I'll probably finish that up in the afternoon today. So that will bring me to having completed everything I needed to for the weekend, plus for the week rather, plus my half a card buffer. And at that point, I am free to work on whatever else I want art-wise. I do have some other stuff to do. I have like 3 Etsy sales and an eBay sale I got to take care of today. So I'm definitely going to finish that card today, and I intend on doing some artwork on the horror, but I'm not sure if I will today or not, but I have until Monday where that's the only art that I have to do. Yeah. So Friday early evening, it's like 5-something. I'm in downtown San Leandro, which is kind of close to Oakland, which is kind of close to where I live. Fridays we get pizza, and there's a place called Bluebird Pizza, which is has East Coast style pizza near us. There's another place called Slice New York. Doesn't matter. Anyway, we come here every Friday. It's overpriced, but it's like our little ritual treat, taste of home, because pizza out here is not anything worth, I mean, I eat it all the time. I eat Papa John's and Domino's, but there's no like regular pizza that isn't chain. But I got here a little early, so went to GameStop, and I had heard that they reissued a Battlefront Stormtrooper, which was a game. The Star Wars Battlefront is a game. They had issued a Stormtrooper figure that was only ever in that game, and this was like, I don't know, 8 years ago or something. And it was stupid prices online forever. And then I guess probably because GameStop's desperate for money at this point, they reissued that and a few other figures. And while I was never going to pay stupid money for it, for 20-something bucks, I'm like, yeah, I'll get that Stormtrooper and put it in my collection, sure. And I walked in and they had it. And I didn't expect them to, because even though they reissued it, it's an exclusive and it's hard to get. So good luck for me. Meanwhile, I did finish the art on the other card. So I have finished everything I need to for this week. Yeah, which I already told you, so whatever. This is the figure, by the way, and so, you could see, it's a Stormtrooper, but it's got red on it, you see. It's got red. The other Stormtroopers don't. Although I do have many Stormtroopers that have blue or red or yellow or some version of Stormtrooper with color pattern, but not this color pattern. So anyway, off to pizza. This came in the mail yesterday. I say this came in the mail as though it's like, whoa, where did this come from? But obviously it's something I ordered. It's pens. They're sort of off-brand microns, I guess. I don't even know how good a brand this is. They're called Art and Fly Fine Line Drawing Pen. They're Japanese archival ink, waterproof, bleed-proof, non-toxic. So they seem to be similar to microns. They're 0.03, I think, is the diameter, which I would have liked to got it a little bit smaller, but that's not so bad. Why do I have these? They're colored. That's the thing. See, all the different colors. I was going to get a set of microns, but most of them didn't have yellow, unless you got these really huge set, and yellow seemed like a color I specifically wanted. So for more colors, it was cheaper. So hopefully the quality isn't that bad, and I'm just not paying for the brand name of Micron. But the other thing is, why am I getting them? Well, for a while now, I've noticed a technique that a couple artists use. Specifically, Reno Masad uses this to great effect and does full color traditional artwork. But the style I'm more seeking to emulate is Frankie B. Washington, who does a lot of kaiju art and things like that, which makes sense because then it'd be more in my wheelhouse. He will still do full inks and color, but for certain effects, and I've seen other artists do this too. There's just somebody who sticks out in my mind. If he wants to do, for example, if he draws Godzilla and he wants to draw the atomic breath, the blue, which is usually blue, instead of inking that and then coloring it, or just coloring it, he'll sort of ink it with a blue pen or a light yellow pen or something, and then color in with Copics or whatever he uses on top of that. So it gives the effect, it sort of simulates a painting or a digital effect while you're just using ink. And for me, I did a card, which I can't show you, but the character had yellow lightning coming out of their eyes. And this is from a 60s TV show, so it was very flat, like it was just painted on, just yellow. And so I wanted to just have yellow, but the problem is it was a specific shape of the lightning. It's not, it's not like a generic, like I wanted it to look like it did in the show. And I had to make sure I didn't draw underneath that. So I drew it in the digital. I transferred it, so then I had a pencil outline, and I was gonna just color in the pencil outline, but when you use Copics on pencil, sometimes it gets smeary and gray and you can't erase it. So after some going back and forth, I used a very, very thin black line, and it came out fine, and it looks fine, and it looks like comic book art, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I realized it's not what I wanted to do. And no one would know this looking at it, but it's just not what I intended. But if I had this yellow pen, then I would ink the whole thing, and then certain areas, the eyes or the lightning bolt or whatever, I could ink with red or blue or yellow or whatever energy or glow color I want to do. Some people use it for water, things like that, slime, whatever. And so I got this. And it's funny because it just came today, and I did that card 2 days ago, so I could have, I guess, waited, but I sort of decided to buy this after doing the card. So hopefully I'll use it for some cards going forward or other things in the future. I don't do a ton of traditional art anymore. Lately, I've been doing a lot because I had a commission and I have all these cards. So it's sort of like I'm investing in something that I don't do that often, but I'm doing it a lot right now. And every time, similarly, while doing these projects, I use Copic markers primarily, and I've ordered 2 refills for Copics, which are not cheap, like $10-ish. But it was for a warm gray and a cool gray, which I use all the time, and they're empty. So it's like, even though I use it right now, if I'm ever using Copics, I'm gonna need these. But again, it's a thing where like I'm making this investment into art tools that I don't use that often, but also this stuff lasts forever. So if I don't use it for a year, it's still worth it. And whatever. The other thing is, it feels good to buy art supplies. I don't know why, but like I work digitally. I've talked about this before. Like I work digitally all the time. There's something about like having to buy refills for my Copic markers. Like I guess I'm really an artist. I'm drawing. Drew so much I need a refill. Oh look, I found a new tool. I better go ahead and buy that. It's not quite the same as going into an art store and like ordering online isn't quite as fun, but it's still a little bit more fun / official, like whatever that means, than just moving pixels around. So I'm gonna just do a quick test. I don't need to do this. This is something I could do later, but kind of excited to try it. And I'm gonna need to figure it out eventually, obviously. Better to do it now than when I'm working on a card or some finished piece of artwork. And again, arguably I don't need to do it while, now, because I should be working on the horror or whatever else. But I'm gonna go ahead and just do yellow as I intended. So take the yellow pen. Now, actually, here's what I should do. I should draw a pencil line to make sure I can erase it, so I'll do that. But I'll just go ahead and draw a little lightning. Can I get a better angle? Yeah, not easily. Okay, so here's a little, it's a lightning line. All right, so I put that in. Zoots, and now I'm gonna get a little light here. Take my yellow pen and draw right over the pencil line. Because the one thing I assume, but I haven't tested, is that I'll then be able to erase fairly easily. Which is, again, I've seen other people do, but maybe this brand is terrible for that, and I've just wasted my money, or I have to be more careful, or who knows what. All right, so I drew a little pencil outline of lightning, and I inked over it. Let me get my eraser. This is one of those white ones. I don't know what brand it is. It's a white eraser. Okay, erase. Oh, I realized one other mistake I made is that this isn't like heavy Bristol. This is just like copy paper, typing paper, whatever you want to call it. And as I'm doing it, the pencil looks like it's not coming off very easy. Yeah, where I've inked over it, it's kind of stuck. So this experiment might be a failure. I need to try something else. So this is sort of the effect I was going for, and if it was showing fire or something, it would work well. I wanted it to be a little bit more flat. I actually used 3 different shades of Copic in addition to the pen, so it's not quite what I wanted, not as sharp as I wanted, but this will work. I need to practice, I need to experiment, and I need to maybe just be willing to freehand it, which is not my strong suit. But I don't regret buying the pens. I am glad I did this test, because if I went right in on a final project, I would have made a mistake. And I still might, but at least now I've knocked out most of the major mistakes I would make. Hey, it's Saturday early afternoon, and I'm getting out for a hike much earlier than I normally would, which is good, because I'll have this sort of checked off for the weekend, checked off for the day, and I could then do anything else the rest of the day, not having to worry about this hanging over my head. Almost at the end of my walk, a little under an hour. Not amazing, but definitely got a sweat up. And there's like a half of a tree stump along the path that had something red growing out of it. I'm like, is that a flower or a fungus or what is that? As I got closer, I realized it was not 1, but 2 garbage bags with poop in them. Presumably dog poop. Hopefully dog poop. And I was annoyed because like, why would you pick up the poop and then instead of carrying it to a garbage can, you like put it in a stool, a toadstool, a log. And I was thinking like, well, I guess it's better than not picking it up at all. And they're like, no, it's not. If you didn't pick it up at all, it would decompose over time and whatever. This way, you're like preserving it. I guess the best thing to do if you're like lazy or don't have a bag or whatever is flick it off the path. So nobody will step in it and hopefully it'll decompose. I mean, ideally you bring it, and actually I'm looking, there's a garbage can right there. So it was only like a 2 more minute walk to the garbage can. So I don't know, people are terrible. So I've had a shower, so I have fluffy hair. So I went for the walk earlier in the day, and it ended up, again, it wasn't very long, but it ended up being pretty strenuous. I got home and I was exhausted. I did some housework that I needed to do, took a shower, and I was just wasted. I also had to get up in the middle of the night last night, so that wasn't thrilling. But it's weird because like I kind of did all this stuff that I want to do and got it out of the way so I could just relax and get some art done and whatever. But it like, I don't know, like I always try to figure out the best way to structure things to get the most done, to be the most efficient. And I don't know if this is it or not, but after I got done, I took the shower and I laid around for like an hour watching TV recovering, and then it was time to have a snack. And like, so I have worked on some of the horror. I'd put about an hour or so in. I thought I'd put a lot more in, but now it's almost time to start making dinner-ish, so I'm going to stop. But I'll show you what I did. It's not a lot. This is the panel I had been working on previously where I was redrawing Koji and stuff. So what I did was I first went in and, well, here it is finished. First, I inked up Boots in the background, and then I went back in Koji and inked him up. And similarly with the other ones with the face, I redrew it a few times. I'm still not super happy with it, but it's so small on the page that I'm going to stop worrying about it. And I'm kind of like with this panel, I'm calling it done. So we got 1, 2, 3 done, and then I have actually 4 done. So I only have 1 more panel on this page, not including grays or any revisions I decide to do. So again, very slow progress, but it is progress because before I started working on this, I had none of this page done. So there's that. So I've never been much of a cook, partially because I had no interest, partially because I was not taught, partially just because, whatever, no interest, not taught. I mean, that pretty much sums it up. However, I do end up cooking more often than I ever had in my life. Which is still not that much, but usually it's like making pasta or mac and cheese or veggie burgers. Things don't require a lot of cooking. One of the few meals, and there's a couple that I actually consider like cooking, is I do a stir fry, veggie stir fry. So you can see here I'm sauteing some onions and I'm pressing some tofu, and I mixed up my own little like sauce that I do here, which was based on something I found online. The vegetables, I am doing some steamers for vegetables because the timing, I don't know, whatever, that's because I'm doing. But anyway, this is what I'm doing. And it tastes delicious, but I hate how it takes about 45 minutes to make. So I didn't do any more drawing. I had to get some stuff ready for the Power Rangers interview show. So I was doing art technically. I was creating a graphic, and then I set up the technical backstory, the technical backstory, the back end stuff, so that'll be ready to go on Tuesday for the live interview. But I did open a toy that I got a while ago, but I haven't had a chance to open. It's a Quintesson from Transformers from the movie in the later seasons that they never made a toy of. There was a couple of bootlegs a few years ago, but they officially made one. And I obviously had to have one, but what's even better is it actually spins like guilty or innocent. I broke it. I didn't break it, but I can't do it with one hand. Anyway, regardless whether you're guilty or innocent, you die. It's such a fun toy for the kids. Sunday afternoon, I don't know what I'm doing. I finished up a Gazbot panel that I had started a while ago. I started it real long time ago. Then I started working on it again a day or two ago, and now I've finished it. I've mentioned this before, but I don't know what I'm doing, because the whole point of Gazbot is just to be this goofy little thing I do for fun. And now I'm like 4 or 5 panels into this narrative about Six Flags that I kind of want to drop, but I kind of want to make it resolve in some way. But yeah. Anyway, I did that. I did it. It's not done. The storyline is not done. I'm using that term very loosely. But the other thing I'm working on is we have been trying to get a better handle on our finances. Not that we're in financial trouble or anything, but just sort of track what we're spending and doing. And I'm trying to keep an eye on like what art stuff that I sell and taxes and all that stuff, so it's not a surprise later, and just, what's working, whatever. Anyway, I was going over my Etsy sales, and I've done this before where it'll say, theoretically it's easy, where it's like, oh, this is what you've sold this month, and this is what your costs were as far as shipping and fees and stuff. And so I'm looking at the amount, and it's like, oh, here's your amount. But when I add it up myself, it doesn't add up. Like, the amount I have is significantly higher than the amount they're saying, not by like $1 or $2, and then I'm like, well, there's all the fees and stuff. So if you take so maybe I have to add the fees to the amount, like they're pre-taking that out. But when I do that, it comes out much higher than what I have. So it doesn't work either way, matching what I have. So, and then I was like, well, maybe like the last transaction or 2 of the month don't count, like it doesn't get into that fact. So I tried taking 1 or 2 out, still doesn't add up. So I don't understand how and I'm talking about just like net. I'm not talking about like fees, but just like these are the actual sales and the payments that came to me. When I look at that, that's what I see. So they're deducting something that I don't know what it is, or they're adding something that I don't know what it is. And in a general sense, I know what's going on, but like, if I needed to be precise for tax purposes or things like that, it's on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, I'm fine. It becomes difficult. And that's something I struggled with a lot earlier today, and I've kind of temporarily given up on getting it precise. Again, I'm doing it, but getting it to that precise level. It reminds me, again, when I talk about like having to change something in the sink, or like life stuff that somehow I don't know. And it's not easy. Like even with Google, like when I look it up, it's like, well, maybe this, and there's like 50,000 answers that may or may not apply to what I'm talking about. It's just like, how do people know how to do these things if they're not an accountant? How do people know how to do these things if they're not a plumber? And I guess maybe they just fail at it a number of times for years, and then they're like, they can kind of do it, But even when I think about my father, who would do a lot of DIY stuff and a lot of fixing up cars, like he wasn't like good at it. Like he could do it, but it was often like, I broke this thing, and so then I'll just glue it together with this other pipe, and it's the wrong color. It doesn't, but it works, and it'll hold for a year or two, And it's like, I know that's not the right way to do it. It's better than, I guess, paying someone to do it is the idea. Or he knew people where he's like, well, I have a friend who's a plumber that has this special tool and but like just, I don't know. And I know this is accounting stuff, but it's like theoretically, oh, this is how much money I made. I deduct this for, postage, and I deduct this for the fees from the site, and that's what I've made. And then I pay this much tax on it. It sounds simple, and I feel like I understand it, but when I get into it, I don't. Hey, it's Sunday night. I'm in bed. I am about to be asleep. I should already be asleep. I'm not yet asleep. But anyway, it was not a very productive day today. I don't know. I kind of burned myself out yesterday doing stuff. This is the problem. You get to the weekend. I'm like, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff. And then like I do too much stuff. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I didn't work anymore on the horror. I did actually start working on the next Ultraman sketch card. I didn't get very far, but I kind of did some research and did like a super, super preliminary rough sketch on my iPad in bed now. Yeah, it's weird. Like I'm kind of looking forward to the week beginning, because then I can get back to working on the Ultraman cards, which it's a weird thing where there's a certainty and a simplicity and a straightforwardness of like, I know what I need to do. I know the process to do it. I can tell very easily if I'm doing it correctly or not. and I have a specific deadline that I have to meet. So it's non-negotiable that I have to do this work. Whereas when I work on the horror or anything else of my own, there's a lot more uncertainty for a variety of reasons. And while I want it to be done, there isn't a hard and fast deadline. So there's always the ability to push it back for one reason or another. Sometimes they're good reasons, but if it's a deadline for a work for hire, a job, then I can't push it back no matter how good my reasons are. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to getting back to the week and getting back to the Ultraman cards. And in my mind, it's like, oh, and then when I get done with those, then I'll have, the horror every day, whatever. But I don't know. I doubt myself. Because of my track record, to be honest, because I've proven myself to not be following through. I don't know. I'm just not feeling good about today. But tomorrow is Monday. Okay, bye. Hey, it's Monday morning. It's a little after 9 a.m. I feel not good. Got an okay night's sleep, but I feel sick. I feel not good at all. I did do some research. The sketch of the character I was doing for the card last night, I realized I was just getting way wrong. And it's like a lesser known character, but it's kind of a cult favorite, fan favorite. So I'm like, oh, let me do, I'm doing so many, let me do one of these. And I was having a hard time finding a reference, so I just found an episode online and just screenshot it. It took a while to get a bunch of reference, and I'm like, okay, now I know what I'm going to do. And like right as I was done doing that, and it took me like, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to do that. Right as I got done, it occurred to me to see if there was an X Plus figure, which is this high-end Japanese vinyl brand they sell for, $100+. And I'm like, well, they would never have this character. And I looked, and they did. And it had perfectly crisp, clear, every angle, every detail. I'm like, so I got that too. But I could have done that in like 2 minutes instead of, 15, 20 minutes. Anyway, that I did. And so now I'm just trying to get through the day at this point. Hopefully I'll be more productive later on. But right now, I feel terrible. Hey, so it is 9-something on Monday. Normally I like to be in bed or headed towards bed around this time, which I will be right after this. Today's been a weird day. I was very sick for most of the morning. I felt better in the afternoon. I took a short nap. I have a real hard time taking naps. I don't know what it is. I could be exhausted and I fall asleep and then I wake up like 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later. Maybe I'll be in bed for an hour but wake up 5 times. It's just, I don't know. I've never been great at taking naps, but I think I've gotten worse as I've gotten older for some reason. But anyway, so I took a very short nap. Then I had a caffeinated beverage, kind of woke me up, got me through the rest of the day. And then I say got me through the rest of the afternoon. And then by like late afternoon, early evening, I started feeling fine. And I went out for a walk in like the hiking area. Not a big, huge walk, but I wasn't planning on doing anything. I felt terrible. And I feel good now. It's, I guess whatever it was, got out of my system and great. But I didn't do anything today. I fell behind on housework and I didn't, technically, honestly, I did no drawing. I did the research in the morning. I technically did a little bit of sketching on the next card, but normally I'd have the rough done at the very least, and I don't have the rough done. So I'm a little bit behind on everything because of that. And even once I felt better, I do still feel tired, and so I kind of just took it easy. Tuesday, I'm gonna give another update tomorrow, and then the video will probably go up. I'll probably put the video together Tuesday, and it'll go up Tuesday or Wednesday. But that's it for today. Just kind of nothing today. Yeah. I did actually take a shower, cut my hair, and shave. So a little bit of self-care stuff happened, I guess. That's it. Okay. But other than that, nothing. Okay, Tuesday morning, 7:38 a.m. The main thing I've accomplished today is I shared the last of my Mystery Science Theater cards, which was Gigan from Godzilla, and I posted that to all my social media, and then I shared it to every group I could think of. And also, I've been attaching a link to the Kickstarter for the Ultraman cards set I worked on, even if it's Godzilla stuff, because it's tangentially related. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but I think I did mention this, but the link I use, if people follow that, I get more sketch cards or something. It's vaguely defined as getting more. So I wanted to succeed for a variety of reasons, but one of the reasons I want my link to be used is because it helps me, selfishly. So I've been doing that too. And again, doing that probably took me 20 minutes or so just to do all that sharing. The next thing I need to do is share for my Power Ranger show. We're doing an interview Friday. It was supposed to be today, actually, but it got pushed back. And so I had created it, shared it all over, and then the actor had a commitment come up, so they couldn't do it. So we pushed it back. So I recreated it, and now theoretically I have to share it everywhere, but I don't feel like it. I got to do it though. We got to the hiatus of the current Power Rangers season, and I was sort of looking forward to, usually we don't take big breaks, but I was looking forward to taking a week or two off from that at least, so that I could catch up on some other stuff. But then 2 interviews in a row fell into my lap. A colleague, I guess, for lack of a better term, from the Morphing Network basically hooked me up with these a while ago, and they just came through now. So I have back-to-back this week and next week. We have interviews, which is fun and it sounds good, but I have to set things up. I have to share it. I have to do my research to know what I'm talking about with these people. And so the next 2 weeks, instead of having a break from a show, are going to be more labor-intensive shows. So after that, I'm hoping to take a break. My co-host probably won't want to, but I'll be like, well, then you can put something up. I don't know, but I need a break. So that's what's going on so far this morning. Well, now it's late afternoon Tuesday. I had a break in the middle of the day where I had Taco Bell for lunch, but that didn't take out of my time. That was just a little treat for me. But I played some video games. I planned on playing one. I played 3 rounds of Dead by Daylight, which I shouldn't have. But it's tough because it's that thing of like, I need to take a break. I need to like relax. I need to turn off my brain for a second. I need to wind down. And for a lot of people, that's art. For a lot of people, that's drawing or writing or creating or whatever. That's not really it for me. It's hard for me to jump from doing one thing into drawing or whatever. And it's hard because like I gotta get my mind around it and all that stuff. But like if I clean the house and do some other work and go shopping or whatever, and I get home and I draw, like I feel like I still haven't had a break until I stop and watch TV, play a video game, read a comic book, do something that is like, because art is work. Even stuff that I really enjoy doing with like very relaxed deadlines and like very few constraints, or even if it's just for myself, it's work. It's hard and it stresses me out and I have to think about it a lot. And so, but I don't want to be lazy and squander the little bit of free time I have. So it's this constant battle back and forth. Anyway, so I played some video games and I tell myself, well, this is okay. And sometimes it is. And sometimes I tell myself that when it's not. And it's hard to know that line between, again, being nice to myself and being realistic and being lazy and procrastinating. But I did stop and I finally finished the rough for the next sketch card, which actually was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. It's just a headshot, this monster that like has flashing eyes, but I'd never drawn them before. And I'm not really enough familiar with them. Like I've seen the episode that they're in, a couple of years ago, but that's it. And I don't consider them a particularly big character or popular kaiju, but every kaiju is somebody's favorite. So I want to do a good job and I just want to do a good job anyway. It's weird though, because I was thinking about how one of the complaints I have with the horror, and working on that a lot, complaints is a weird way to say it, but is about how I don't seem to know how to draw my own characters half the time. And it's this thing where I'm designing on the page or reinterpreting because it's been a year, or forgetting or whatever. And yet I'm doing these sketch cards for Ultraman and also Mystery Science Theater, and a lot of these characters, it's the first time I've ever drawn them, or I'm never going to draw them again, or I haven't drawn them in a year or whatever. And I'm not having as much trouble. I mean, sometimes I have to hit the reference a few times, but then I get it and I'm more or less happy with it. And part of it because there's a deadline, so I just have to get it done. Part of it because arguably I'm not as emotionally invested in it as I am my own creations, but I kind of am. They're monsters. I like drawing monsters. I want to be known as a guy that's good at drawing monsters, specifically, these known Japanese monsters. And but I think the other thing is, it only has to look good for this one image. Yes, I might do a commission down the road. Yes, I might do a print down the road. But really, if I'm drawing Baragon, as long as I make this image of Baragon look like Baragon and look good, I'm good. I don't have to worry about, and then he walks into the diner and turns to the left, and now I have an upshot, and keeping it so in a weird way, it's easier, even though it's harder. It's harder because I don't know these characters as well, and I, again, maybe never drew them before, but I only have to get it right once, and I have a deadline. And so even if it's not 100% right, if it's like, 70, 80, 90% right, it's good enough, and I can fix it with some lighting or change the angle a little bit, or, fix it with color, and as long as it's good one time, I'm good. But with Boots or Koji or the horror, I have to draw them so many times from so many different angles and put expression on them. And when I'm drawing these, just like if you're doing a pinup, I'm like, oh, I have a cool idea for an image. He's punching through a wall, or hey, his eyes are flashing, or whatever I think would look cool / I could do easily, quickly. That's what I could do. Whereas in a comic, any comic, even one that I wrote myself, I have to service the story. So I can't say, oh, okay, well, you know, the horror's on this page, so I'll do a cool thing of him like kicking over a wall. Nope, because that's not what he's doing. He's bending over and he's looking into this oil refinery, and like, so I have to then figure all that stuff out and make it look convincing and cool. And then there might be 2 or 3 more panels where it's like, oh, well, does it make sense if he's standing there? Because then later he needs to be next to this boat, and then, oh, the troops come in, should I show them early? So there's so much math to it on top of everything else that, you know, as I was thinking like, why is this easier? I figured out, and that's the answer. It's a little bit later in the same day, Tuesday. I haven't done any more work. Oh, actually, that's not true. I did print it out, cut it, start doing the carbon on the back, but I haven't done any more drawing. My plan is to get that transferred to the card at the very least by the end of tonight. I don't know if I'll do any more or whatever, but that's my goal for today, which puts me not too far behind schedule from where I want to be. And when I say behind schedule, I'm always like, even if I fall behind schedule, that puts me on schedule. I'm trying to be ahead of schedule, blah, 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 blah. I realized last episode, I talked about showing you guys my Mystery Science Theater cards, which I didn't this time either. So next time, maybe next time. I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to try to put this together and put it up tonight as well, maybe. If not, it'll go up Wednesday. Friday, we have a live Power Rangers interview that I got to get ready for too. And yeah, I love this. I love when light comes through leaves for some reason, like the mottled look. Yes. Okay, bye.
So we're going to try this. This is the face lottery. It just scrolls through a bunch of random filters and picks one that they think works best for your face. I don't know what to think about it. I don't know how I feel about it. I got a pretty ugly mug anyway, so I guess it can only go up from here, right?